I actually don't know how to start this video for this episode. All right. Well, here we go. Well. Um, Episode 10, the season finale of Mortal Hunters is out. As of recording this video. Episode 10, All Bets Are Off, Part 2. There's a lot here. This is the longest episode by far. It's the longest episode to date of the season. It's half an hour, like straight up. It's like 33 minutes, 25 seconds. This is the longest episode yet. A lot happens, and I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is just the first page of the synopsis. Page and a half plus a few questions I have, but I'm gonna try and get through this as best I can, as cohesively as I can. So bear with me while watching this, because I have words and I have a lot to talk about. Okay. Starting off, this is the season finale of a two-season series of Mortal Hunters. I don't know where they're going to go with this for season 2. I'm going to link the episode in the description. Please watch it before coming to this video, because this will be heavy spoilers, because I always do synopsis recaps before I talk about what I like. I'll do my best with it. I'm going to go through the synopsis first, and then talk about what I like. About the plot itself. I'll talk about the technical stuff during. So, off the start, this episode has probably the best production value of the entire season by far. The lighting is immaculate. The acting is phenomenal. This is actually probably the best acted episode yet. Characterization and character work are fantastic. Action choreography, much like episode 9, this is really good stuff. This is the most action out of the entire season yet. It's very well choreographed, and it's brutal. I'm going to go over it a little bit more, because they get into it. Also, the episode does have a epilepsy warning, because there is flashing lights, so that's greatly appreciated from them. And camera work is fantastic as well. So in terms... Alright, before I digress, let's get started on this, because there's a lot to discuss. So the episode starts off... In the previous... real quick, recap. In the previous episode, Prairie Dog and K9 escape with the last piece of the artifact. Prairie Dog is injured, possibly wounded, by Bull during their previous encounter. So the episode starts off with Prairie Dog waking up, and he and K9 celebrate getting the piece. It's really good stuff. Like, first 30 seconds, it's them like, we did it. We did it. We got the piece. And they're wondering, and Prairie Dog asks what the plan is. K9 says that their people are going to come meet them here at their safe house, which to them is a huge win, because that way they don't have to move around so much. Or they get a call. But we cut off to Showtime and Jazzy talking about on who they think got the piece. Showtime thinks it's Branch and Bull. And we get a kind of weird... We get a glimpse into their actual dynamic. He's very devoted to Jazzy. His mi amor. And Jazzy implores him to get her money. It's like, clearly, we see who has the power in this dynamic of this relationship between the two of them. And we don't spend much time on them, because we then cut to Oz, who is possibly and probably their home, where Goldilocks is shut in because of what happened in the previous episode. And Oz tries to get her out. And let me look at this. Yeah. And he reminisces about orphanage days, when him and Goldie were in an orphanage together. How he was constantly bullied for being weaker, being slower, being so many things. There we go. mean, so many things that he couldn't play with the other kids, and they reminisce because now the situation is technically reversed because it's Oz trying to get her out of the room instead of the other way around, which I think is a really nice touch. They get a call as well from possible employer. They do this where they're going to cut between each of the party members of the cast that they're going to get a call. We didn't cut to Bull and Ranch. They comfort each other about the job and wondering what's going on. They get a call as well. It's not very long. And again, we also get to Jag, who's also minding her business, resting and fiddling with her knife. When she also gets a call, which it builds something up. We then cut back to K9, and it's revealed that their location was leaked to everyone. It will now be a free-for-all, and we see the dread in K9's face. It is palpable. They scramble to get out, try to leave, but then they are ambushed and disoriented by Showtime and his frequency device, which he is somehow immune to. First off, how? Why? But I asked this question back in 1200 decibels, so whatever. So they are incapacitated, and Showtime takes the piece. Instead of leaving, he then decides to gloat to an imaginary audience and tries to attack K9 more before being saved by Oz and Goldie. And then they almost have a altercation with each other, K9, Goldie, and Oz, about the piece. And then hopefully I'm getting this right. Yeah, they are then attacked by a heavily armed Bull and Ranch with assault weapons instead of standard sidearms. They then put the rifles down after letting loose lead. And then they all kind of have a standoff. Actually, hold on. Attacked by... Bull then attempts to attack K9. Apparently he has a big grudge against him for some reason. And before K9 can aim his weapon at Bull, Jag disarms him. She's now on the scene. And then there's this big standoff between everyone about the piece. It is then kickstarted by Prairie Dog getting a metal pipe and smacking Bull in the back of the head and Ranch. And they all scramble back around, chasing whoever has the piece. Right now it's Oz and Goldie. They're chased by... Like I said, there's a lot. Yeah, it is now a free-for-all for the piece. They are chased by... Goldie and Oz are chased by Ranch. Goldie tells Oz to run on ahead while she holds him off. They briefly fight before being soundly defeated. Pretty quickly, actually. By Ranch. He catches up. Jag runs past them while they're fighting and chases Oz. And immediately disarms him, takes the piece for herself before Ranch catches up and they briefly fight, overwhelming Jag and seriously injuring Oz. I think the characterization with Oz is that he has like a condition where he is easily bruised, easily injured. I forget what the condition's called, but it reminded me of Samuel L. Jackson's character in the M. Night Shyamalan Unbreakable series, film series. His character, Mr. Glass. Maybe not as severe, but it reminded me of that. And lost my place. Yeah, and he takes the piece and Ranch takes the piece for himself. Instead of fighting, Goldie runs to Oz, allowing Ranch to try to make his way out. Showtime then disorients Ranch, catches up and steals a piece, but is met by K9, who immediately pressures him in the fight. Like I said, this is first off, this is a chaotic episode. There's a lot going on, and I wrote this down as I was kind of watching it. So, we then cut back to Jag, Goldie, and Oz. She urges them to leave, to get Oz out, and that is the last we see of them in this episode. Prairie Dog, we getting cut to Prairie Dog being pursued by Bull and is cornered. And it's super foreboding. The lighting is dark and dim. He's only wielded with a pipe ready to throw down. He's easily disarmed by Bull, and despite his best efforts, he is easily defeated and choked out, incapacitating him. Like, we have a sequence where he is hitting Bull in the stomach multiple times, and it just doesn't affect him at all. Like I said, he is immediately he is beaten, choked out, and Bull leaves. Let me see. God, my handwriting's terrible. We then cut back to K-9, who fights off both Showtime and Ranch, but is preoccupied by Ranch, who corners him. Bull confronts Showtime, who tries to disorient him with a device, but is easily beaten as Bull just shrugs it off. Again, is this guy a superhuman? And then before he can do anything, Jag shows up, briefly fights Bull, and Bull soundly beats her. Bull is like, okay, Bull is the like MVP of this season, of the cast, because out of everyone possible, he is the main guy that wins every fight, pretty much. He has been clutching up all these fights. But, okay. All right, before I ramble on. Bull overwhelms Jag, and stops Ranch from completely brutalizing K-9. Because K-9 is on the floor getting his head beat in by Ranch. He stops him. Bull decides to pin him against a wall and start torturing him. Torturing K-9. He's like, I think he puts his fingers on his forehead or to start putting pressure on it. It's brutal. And K-9, Kelton, his actor, is screaming out. He's in pain. It's brutal. And then they're stopped by a gunshot by Prairie Dog, who end up getting a firearm. He then negotiates that for their lives, for the peace. So Prairie Dog and Ranch accepts. Prairie Dog gives them the peace, and they leave. And we get a moment where Prairie Dog sits down and he breaks down. And it's genuinely good stuff. Before I forget, I didn't want to ramble too much, but in Prairie Dog and Bull's fight, we get the same POV shot from episode 9. Instead of Goldie's point of view, it was Prairie Dog's when Bull's choking him out. So I'm glad we had a callback there. Make sure I'm in. Here we go. Okay, but we get a great scene moment with Matt Lamar's performance as Prairie Dog as he breaks down. It's good stuff. It's visceral. And then we cut to him carrying Jag outside to safety. He checks her pulse. She wakes up, and they both kind of have they just look at each other, and then she leaves. We then cut to another point in time where K-9 and Prairie Dog are at their car just trying to figure out what to do next. K-9 mentions that that he's gonna probably go back to Michigan, which is probably his home. Prairie Dog offers to come along, and they both set off to get food or something, then move on. And if I remember right, and that's the end of the episode. Yeah. We didn't get a mid-credit scene, and this is the longest mid-credit scene. So, and this is where I have words. So I'm gonna just go through it. Mid-credits, we cut to Bull, who has a haircut instead of the big ponytail he had, which is weird. I didn't realize that. And he's looking at a photograph. of a relative or love interest. I'm going to say a relative based on the coming up dialogue. They talk. Ranch implores him that he goes to meet a guy named King so he get, be taken care of, go to wherever he wants to go. And Bull mentions, Ranch says that he's going to be going to Mexico. Like, extended vacation, they both earned it, yada, yada. Bull mentions he's going to go home. So I'm going to presume that the photograph is a relative, maybe sister, cousin, something like that. And then they get a call, and they both lock in, like they both get ready for something. Like something is approaching them menacingly, or some sort of antagonist. Yeah, tongue twister. They are immediately ambushed, where Bull is both are fatally wounded. Bull is caught from behind and has his throat slit, where Ranch is stabbed from behind by a sword by an unknown assailant who takes the piece as well as pickpockets Bull's photograph of whoever the woman is. And that's it. What? I'm not kidding. That's the end of the episode. Like, there's no post credits. There's no setup for season 2. There's nothing. That's how it ends. That's how season 1 ends. So, I got questions. I'm gonna go over it real quick. Who was the assailant? I think that's the obvious question. Who was it? And I wrote it down. Possibly Jazzy. Because she implores that she wants to get her money. Her whole scene with Showtime in this episode, that was it. And I think I recognized the silhouette too. And that's it. I'm assuming it's Jazzy finally making her move against Ranch and Bull. And okay, other things. It's more of a nitpick. Why didn't we get a scene with Prairie Dog checking on Canine after he is almost tortured, instead of immediately cutting to him carrying Jag? I don't know. That's kind of more of a nitpick to me than anything else. It's very minor. There is no theories for me that were confirmed nor denied, as we did not learn anything new. This has all the strengths turned up to 11 from episode 9, but also a few of the weaknesses. Again, we didn't learn anything new besides certain character elements. Again, Bull having a photograph of somebody, maybe family or love interest, whoever. And that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure you could argue that Jazzy has been set up as an antagonist for the next season. But if the unknown assailant is her, well, okay, then you set her up. But if it's not her, you kind of threw that out the way. Also, guys, you're not slick. I saw the book that Prairie Dog got from the library in 1200 decibels. Wasn't used whatsoever. You're not slick. Just because you put it in the episode doesn't mean you used it. So, Chekhov's guns were very apparent. They didn't bring up anything else. And again, the theories were bust. Nothing was confirmed nor denied. So I'm gonna kind of hold on to hope. But given how the series is going, I'm going to assume that my theories are a bust. That I don't think they're going to have any weight to this. My theories were that the Miracle Box one was a complete bust and a half. I theorized that the artifact pieces were part of a massive tablet that would lead to something grander. As they said that they are pieces of a tablet and bringing them all together. And House mentions that they'd have a great collection. I theorized that it would be more it have a supernatural significance to it, like the Gates of Babylon, Stairway to Heaven, or the Holy Grail, or something of like the scale of how important these are. But given how this went, probably not gonna come to fruition on that. And I also theorized that Prairie Dog was the younger brother of K9's previous partner, and also his previous partner was the first kill Jag made when she talks about it in the episode Hunted. I'm gonna hold on to hope for that one because I think that just makes logical sense, but I'm not gonna hold out much hope for it. And okay, and now the biggest question, and this one kind of sent me. Bull being fatally wounded the way he did at the end of this episode, in the mid-credit scene, no less, and as a result this season, he gets taken out by a throat slit, by a sword, not whatever. That's how he goes out? Like, okay, I'm sorry if this kind of makes this shouldn't bother me the way it does. But you have shown multiple times that Bull is a tank that takes basically everything. You have shown him take on multiple gunshot wounds. You have shown him take multiple physical trauma to either head, face, body, whatever. But the most damning one is that you show off that he is able to survive a shotgun blast in the previous episode in the shoulder with no apparent injuries. Gets up like nothing happened, gets into multiple fights, and still standing perfectly fine. Gets into multiple fights this episode, perfectly fine. He gets knife stabbed, gets slashed, gets beaten in the back of the head by a pipe when the fights start rolling. And he gets caught lacking once. I know that you could make the argument, oh, it's realistic. He had his guard down, or he got caught by surprise. Bullshit. I'm sorry, bullshit. You do not have a character. The consistency for some of the abilities that these characters have, or in their ability to survive things, is very inconsistent. And this bothers me. You do not have a character that is shown multiple times to survive gunshot wounds and can recover very easily. Again, one is a shotgun blast in the previous episode. Gets up like nothing happened, but a throat slit takes him out. That's bullshit in my eyes. That is lazy, and it's cheap. Okay, it shouldn't bother me as much as it does, but this bothers me because this is inconsistent. Now we are in a grounded series. At least you did something new. You killed off a couple of characters. Technically, you killed off if they are killed off. I could be completely wrong. If you did kill them off, I'm going to assume you did. You at least took out the most dangerous duo of the cast. Because Bull and Ranch, every time they're on screen, every time they get involved with something, they are the penultimate adversaries in terms of combat and tracking. They are the ultimate adversary for everybody else. And you take them out like that. I'm sorry, that's just lazy in my eyes. It's cheap. It feels cheap as hell. Consistency should be a major thing you should have. And this show was definitely doing that more times than not. But right here, it feels like a cop-out. Bull and Ranch were dangerous combatants and were able to handle themselves pretty well against everybody else, so you had to take them out so that everyone else kind of gets their flowers to gets their hat to throw into the ring. But how you did it was cheap. I should have known when they were talking about what their plans were. Bull was gonna go home. Ranch had a whole vacation plan in Mexico. That is Formula 101 of to get rid of people, kill off a character or two. So, mini rant over. Let me go over what I like. Like I said, production value, action, and acting are phenomenal. This is the best episode, like production wise, yet, and I loved it. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't be so passionate about this. But most of the questions I had throughout this season weren't answered. Again, some of these were fine. Like, are these superhuman? Okay, fair enough. But it felt like we didn't get any payoff for some of these questions. It's maybe because it was my expectations. Maybe I'm asking for too much, and should just let the art speak for itself. But I don't know. There's just something about not getting answers. And again, this episode is really good. It has all the strengths that episode 9 had, and even more so. It's dialed up to 11, but it also has a lot of the weaknesses. What was the whole point of the heads in the employers and house in the mid-credits in episode 9? What was the point of that? You didn't bring them up at all. Unless they're the ones making calls and letting everybody know. You just kind of just had scenes say where they were all given the location of K-9 and Prairie Dog. So what was the point of that mid-credit scene? So that kind of shows that it was a worthless mid-credit scene. Because it didn't do anything. There was no payoff to it. And again, you're not slick. I saw the book, but you didn't use it. Acting wise, this episode is just oozing just great acting from everyone. Again, Bull, my favorite character, is consistently one of the better ones in terms of the line reads, at least. But Matt, Kelton, Ranch's actor, Oz, Goldie, Jag, Jazzy, and Showtime. I'm happy Showtime got more stuff. He's a personal favorite of mine because I love his energy. And dude ate up every scene. Acting wise, this was fantastic. Fantastic. Sound design, love it. Hits felt punchy. They felt meaty. Like they had weight to it. There were some cases where it felt like it didn't look like it had a lot of impact, but the sound effect made it seem like it had more impact than it did. But it's still good. And lighting is great. I love the lighting. The camera work is better in this episode. Is probably, again, production-wise, this is the best episode yet. Best production so far. But the plot relevance, the plot continuity to it, I think you could say, is not. It's not messy. I'm not gonna say it's messy because it's really not, but it feels like you're opening up for another episode, and that's it. I don't know. I'm gonna stick with I don't really have any new theories here. I really don't, because we don't get enough. We don't get new information. We don't get much more lore. We just don't. It's like episode 9 where it's fantastically made, but we don't get enough information. We don't get new information. All we get are events that happen, and that's kind of it. If I had a favorite sequence, this is the best set piece yet. If I had to have a favorite scene, it would probably be Prairie Dog and Bull's encounter. Because the lighting is fantastic. It's got a great gravitas to it. We see Prairie Dog can handle himself in a fight, but he is outmatched in the chaos of this all. Like, this is some really good stuff. That might be my favorite scene. At least action sequence, because it's really good. Again, Matt Lamar, he eats up every scene he's in. Some of his line reads are a little jank, but overall, this episode, best yet. Again, him breaking down because of the adrenaline wearing off. It's really good stuff. I really like it. But I don't know. That mid-credit scene really kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. Maybe it's because Bull was my favorite character and y'all did him like that. Maybe. But you know what? No. It's consistency. The fact that y'all took him out like that when previous episodes showcased other feats that he has. So, again, this episode was really good. But that mid-credit scene really left a bad taste in my mouth. It's still good. As a matter of fact, the mid-credit scene, again, is fantastically shot. I actually really like the ambiance. How Ranch and Bull are usually in control of the whole situation, and then they are immediately in the opposite. They don't have the control. And I think that's really good stuff. That's really good juxtaposition. I think I used that word right. I don't think I did. But maybe cruel irony is a better way to say it. But I like the concept, but the execution was off for me. Yeah, we'll go with that. Fantastic concept where they get caught lacking. Or caught off guard, more technically speaking. But the execution was a bit more off. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say on this episode. I'll link the channel of Warped Pictures as well as the episode itself for y'all to watch on your own time. To watch it before you watch me. And if y'all have any thoughts on it, what y'all thought about the episode, what y'all thought about the mid-credit scene, whatever y'all want to talk about, please leave a comment down, and I'd like to get into a conversation with y'all. If you like me rambling on about a random web series or just anything in general, please leave a like. Subscribe if you want to watch more of me. I'm gonna try and make more regular videos. But because of the weekly release of this season, I was able to do a little bit more. So hopefully I can get with my brother and my roommate, and we could make our group videos like we used to do back earlier on. But we'll have to see where that goes. Again, thanks you all. If y'all stuck around for me with me this long, I had a lot to say about this one, and I appreciate y'all if y'all stuck around to the end. And I hope to catch y'all on the next one. Y'all have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, whenever y'all watch this, and I'll see y'all on the next one.